Hello, and welcome to another episode of Jake Reads Comics. Uh, in honor of the recent cast announcement of the Fantastic Four, the new live-action Fantastic Four movie that I believe is already in production, and also the Astounding Tales issue 2 Kickstarter, we have a very special episode. We're going to do the Galactus Trilogy, the Jack Kirby Stan Lee classic. As always, these episodes are brought to you by Astounding Tales, the comic book created by Ray Griffith and I. I'm the writer. Ray happens to be the artist. And he does some incredible work, as you can see in Astounding Tales issue 0, out now, and Astounding Tales issue 1, out now, with the cool, amazing Fantasy 15 homage cover. But the best way to support this show and to support Astounding Tales is the Kickstarter campaign for Astounding Tales issue 2 that's live right now. The info is below. Click on that link tree and that will give you the info or where to go. Just click on the link tree, click on the link for the Kickstarter, and that will take you to the campaign that's live right now for Astounding Tales issue 2. And now, back to our main event, the Stan Lee Jack Kirby classic, found within the pages of Fantastic Four, issues 48 through 50, which took place March, April, May of 1966 were the cover dates of those issues. So classic cover, coming of Galactus, and right off the bat, we're in media res, meaning a fancy term for in the middle of the action. We see the Inhumans and the Fantastic Four on this great exciting page. What's going on? Well, the fateful vibrations have started thanks to Maximus, and also thanks to Stan Lee, writer without peer, Jack Kirby, penciler of the year, Joe Sinnott, inker most sincere, Artie Simic. How did he get here? So this has been, if you've ever seen the Fox adaptation of the Fantastic Four, the cartoon, the 90s Saturday morning cartoon, they covered some of this ground with the Inhumans, and they live apart from almost like ancient mutants that live apart from humanity. The pollution is quite dangerous to them, and so the Inhuman royal family is deposed by their mad, I guess, Black Bolt sibling, their mad relative, Maximus the Mad. The Mad is a evil scientist type deal, the black sheep of the Inhuman royal family, and he activates this device that takes the Fantastic Four and blocks them from ever going back to the Great Refuge where the Inhumans live. Johnny, despite his powers, can't blast through the force field, so he's super upset because his love, Crystal, his current love interest, the Inhuman Crystal, is on the other side of that shield. So, right off the bat, in these Kirby Lee comics, you can kind of see not only the action, so right off the bat, we're opening with a splash panel that's begging you to read on, but also the amount of ideas, the art design. So we have this cool citadel giving out different energy waves. Then we have the explosion. Then in here we have this cool kind of machine that Maximus the Mad has designed, or Jack Kirby has designed. The interesting design of the characters. That's one of the things I think is remarkable about this comic. And really the classic Kirby Lee comics, but really Kirby comics in general, the amount of ideas and concepts that come rapid fire, and that's a big inspiration actually for Astounding Tales and kind of the pace and tone that we go for in that comic. So then we have this, again, this kind of, Kirby's not referencing any of these machines. These are just crazy Kirby contraptions, and he's pulling this handle, and boom, that sends our Fantastic Four. So you have the idea of the Inhumans, this kind of offshoot of humanity that lives hidden among us. That's one concept that was introduced before this comic, but it's explored in these first few pages. It's kind of energy force fields, and then boom, we're in the cosmos, and we get introduced to the Silver Surfer. And this is a completely Jack Kirby creation. Stan did not know about the Silver Surfer till he saw these pages. So there's a lot of Marvel Stan and Jack creations, which people can give Stan kind of varying levels of credit, but don't want to get too overly controversial. But just to kind of put a finer point on it, the Surfer, that's all Kirby. And again, the amount of concepts, ideas, characters. Of course, the Skrull were introduced much earlier in Fantastic Four comics, but we go from the Inhumans to the Skrull, from hidden races to the aliens in the outer cosmos. And we see kind of the Surfer traversing the cosmos. We see the Skrull, and then boom, back to the Fantastic Four. But on their way home from the Great Refuge, I believe that's what they refer to it in these issues. With the Fantastic Four start to notice there's strange weather anomalies. Flames in the sky. Soon we'll see other things as well. The sky cycle. So first we have them traveling in an airplane, then boom, the sky cycle. Again, the cool designs, concepts, every page. And also very kinetic, oftentimes with Kirby action. And I think this is a good lesson for comic making. You'll see depicted the beginning and the end. You don't see a lot of the middle in terms of action depicted in Kirby comics. See the thing dropping, and you see the thing smashing. It's clobbering time. And the thing taking care not to harm. And again, here we see the wind up, and then we see the result. We don't see the middle part. So again, this is a classic depiction of Jack Kirby action. Cool kind of Kirby energy. Of course, everyone loves the Kirby crackle. He does so well. And I think one of the things to notice is kind of the art is amazing, and you can tell the energy on page to page, but it's not necessarily perfect. The perfect anatomy, there's exaggerated anatomy, exaggerated movements, but there's definitely a great energy and enthusiasm that gets translated through the art. And I think sometimes more importantly than the most perfect art is kind of the imagination and the energy that Kirby creates. And this is just and also very readable. So he's not, this is a very traditional kind of panel layouts, but within those panels. And Kirby is credited with kind of bringing more use of splashes and double splashes, but you could tell in these comics he uses it judiciously. So we still have 6-panel grids, and everything stays kind of within the 6-panel grid. Even though this is a 5-panel page, it's still on a 6-panel grid. He's just combining 2 panels in the middle one. And then we have the Watcher, Uta the Watcher, another wonderful from Kirby's imagination, and a wonderful Kirby machine. Again, I don't think he's referencing much stuff here. He's just assembling this kind of cool Kirby contraption. And the Human Torch visits the Silver Surfer. Now you can kind of also see, and you'll see more in later pages, the Norn Red Silver Surfer origin were not given in these issues, and it's given later on in other issues that Stan Lee have written outside of the Fantastic Four, and I believe it was the Silver Surfer graphic novel. Kirby, I believe, wanted to give him to kind of be a being of pure energy, and you can that's kind of hinted at that here. And one of the things that's legendary about this comic, besides Silver Surfer, is this cool Kirby collage. So we have him kind of working in different mediums, and one of the things is this awesome Kirby collage. And then we have this massive Galactus, the big G. The it doesn't have this is not quite finished Galactus, but the color schemes could be a little different. Of course, we got to have a cool kind of Kirby helmet. And now we're on to second issue of the Galactus trilogy. So again, just kind of the pace of the action, and giving us all these cool concepts and characters, and opening up with 2 splash pages. This kind of a mid-shot close-up of the Fantastic Four reacting to these 2 Titans in the middle of downtown Manhattan. So you see Galactus right off the bat. That Kirby had this amazing character design, as Kirby is a legendary for. It's clobbering time. And again, the beginning of the action, the end of the action. You don't really see the wind up. Or you see the wind up, you see the end, you don't see the middle. The Human Torch isn't really able to stand up at all. As powerful as our Human Torch is, he's little more than a nuisance to Galactus. And now we have a character moment. And again, we're working Marvel method. So at this point, I doubt Jack is even getting a written plot or outline or anything like this. Maybe him and Stan are talking about what's, hey, this should be the villain, or what about a story? How about a story like this, Jack? Jack is then creating the art, obviously pacing out the story by, he doesn't have a full script, so his panel layouts are pacing the story. And so we have this great character moment where Reed is taking time out to shave. So we have this great character moment where Reed's saying, hey, we need to take time out to plan, to kind of regroup. We can't just go flying off half-cocked. So while he's doing his thinking, he's also getting a shave in. Wants to look presentable for the end of the world. And the Silver Surfer runs into Alicia Masters. And again, we can tell by his eyes that, again, the original Kirby intention that he be kind of a creation of the power cosmic, an extension of Galactus, his herald, and that Norrin Red origin kind of goes against, not that it's bad, I think it's kind of neat, but is not necessarily what Kirby's original intention for the Surfer was. And once again, the amazing kind of Kirby machinery. We see Galactus kind of assembling the machine he's going to use to devour the Earth. The Watcher, who has taken a vow to never intervene, he only watches, is kind of going to intervene a bit. That he's kind of explaining what Galactus has done to many Earths. So we're seeing Kirby design different planets now, and obviously cool Kirby machine. And so the Watcher's going to do a little intervention, but before that, we're back to Alicia Masters' home, where she's trying to teach the Silver Surfer about humanity and why perhaps he should aid the Fantastic Four, or fight against Galactus to save humanity. That perhaps humanity is worth saving. But not if the Thing has anything to say about it. So they're going to try to destroy the machine. It's kind of their last gasp. And long before we had Frank Castle, here is Marvel's The Punisher. So Marvel never to let a copyright lapse on a name, such as like a new Human Torch or bringing back Namor. We have The Punisher, and then later on we will get the Punisher again. So here we have the Watcher intervening, sending Johnny Storm to the far-off cosmos of Galactus's ship. So again, another amazing Kirby design, and something that we started seeing more in the 60s, then definitely going into the 70s, and was kind of groundbreaking that we take for granted. in terms of the design of the Enterprise in Star Trek, the original series, and kind of this Galactus's ship, is if something's existing in space, aerodynamics is not really a thing that needs to be taken into account. Obviously, no air in space. But previous in the 50s and prior to that, you have the idea of the rocket ship. And pretty much most spacecraft in science fiction was some kind of variation on the rocket ship. I guess you had the flying saucer as well. But once we get into kind of the 60s, we kind of the idea of that spacecraft can kind of look any shape. And we have this kind of cool Kirby design. And it turns out, oh, the Punisher, he's a wee lad, but he takes no guff. I mean, I guess maybe he's Wolverine before Wolverine, kind of a short stature, stocky guy, but he packs a punch and he fights the Thing. So again, maybe I say this facetiously, maybe a Wolverine precursor. Obviously, or I don't know how obvious, but John Byrne is credited with kind of updating the Invisible Girl to the Invisible Woman, giving her a bit of a power up, kind of making her more modern in terms of feminist ideals and not so much a damsel in distress. But here we already see Kirby expanding on the idea that her invisibility is her power of invisibility is actually she can produce force fields. So. And that's how her powers work. Force fields essentially reflecting the light, creating invisibility. So here the Punisher is not able to get past Sue's force field. And then so he comes stalking back and buys the for a little time. Or rather the 3, while Johnny's off to get the ultimate nullifier. And we're at our conclusion now. We're in the 3rd comic of the Galactus Trilogy. And for those who have not read this before or unfamiliar, obviously you saw in the beginning we started in media res in a Inhuman story. It didn't even begin with the Galactus. We kind of got a cold opening that kind of concluded this Inhuman saga. And also in this comic, you're going to see that it ends with Johnny going off to college. So as epic and legendary as this 3-comic saga or trilogy, the Galactus Trilogy, it's told even it's shorter nowadays. God knows how much they would milk this for. This would be a line-wide summer crossover or at least a dozen comic books. But we got all of this in less than 3 books, and perhaps contemporary comics can learn a lot from this. We have this decompressed storytelling that a lot of people are writing for, quote unquote, writing for the trades, or just a storyline or something that works well or selling. The idea of just milking that and to try to boost those sales by tying as much stuff in as possible, but to the detriment of storytelling. And I think a little bit of cutting off your nose to spite your face. That you don't got to go chasing every dollar in terms of just telling great stories. So we have the Surfer now coming to aid the Fantastic Four against Galactus, turning against his master because he thinks there's something to these humans. Maybe they're worth sparing. So firing the power cosmic. But Galactus kind of again is not easily stopped, because again the Surfer is kind of as an extension of Galactus's power cosmic. So it's kind of infeasible that the Surfer can really stand against Galactus, and I guess maybe that makes it even more valiant. That he knows he's outmatched despite the Silver Surfer's immense power. He is still nothing in compared to Galactus. Galactus, a force of nature, and that will be later kind of expanded on in later Fantastic Four comics and other Marvel comics, that he is in fact part of a kind of the balancing of the universe. But we see Johnny is able to land that ultimate nullifier. Now he's on his way back. And So kind of Silver Surfer's buying them some time. Warping space, kind of space and time. Got some cool Kirby crackle. And then we have the Ultimate Nullifier, which the Utah the Watcher lets Reed know, stop. You must never turn the control lever to full power. It could erase the entire solar system in 1 microsecond. Now heed me as I tell you what must be done. So this is one of the few things that actually Galactus fears could erase him from existence. So Galactus being defeated, Reed makes Galactus promise to never harm Earth again. And then in return, Galactus, for this pledge, asks for the Ultimate Nullifier back. Utah the Watcher advises Reed, do as he says, mortal. The promise of Galactus is living truth itself. His word can never be questioned. So Reed gives him back the Ultimate Nullifier. And then as a parting shot, Galactus agrees to that Surfer no longer has to be his herald, but punishes the Surfer and makes him earthbound. And just like that, as quickly as he came, Galactus is off to find another planet to satiate his infinite hunger that could only be satiated by consuming living planets. And then we have Alicia kind of showing empathy and understanding for the Silver Surfer. Ben being very insecure because he's a giant rock monster. And Alicia being a pretty lady, also smart and extremely talented woman, a brilliant sculptor. Ben is pretty insecure and gets the wrong idea and kind of stalks off. And Alicia is not able to catch up to him, unfortunately, and the Silver Surfer takes off to explore Earth. And now we're at Johnny going to college. Johnny and Wyatt Wingfoot. Wyatt Wingfoot, the star quarterback, kind of. So that's the Galactus Trilogy. And then this, of course, was in a trade, Behold Galactus, which you get basically 3 different Galactus trilogies. It's almost a Galactus trilogy for every era or notable era of Fantastic Four. So you have the original Galactus trilogy, a Stan and Jack classic. Then you have another Galactus trilogy, which is done by Stan Lee and John Buscema. And then lastly, you get that John Byrne, which is considered a classic era. I would say after the Kirby Lee classic Fantastic Four, it's John Byrne and Walt Simonson. I would recommend as kind of the 2A and 2B, kind of right up there, kind of neck and neck with each other with great Fantastic Four runs. And we have that where we get Frankie Ray gets turned into the Herald of Galactus. So, yeah, that's the fantastic. So it's a great trade. But that's the Galactus Trilogy. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Once again, this is brought to you by Astounding Tales. Astounding Tales issue 0 out now. Awesome art by Ray Griffith. Words by me, Jake Cohen. Astounding Tales issue 1 also. Very cool Ray Griffith art. And words by me, yours truly, Jake Cohen. But the best way to support this show and to support Astounding Tales is to support the Kickstarter that's live right now for Astounding Tales number 2. And the info is below in that link tree. All right. Have a great week.